In the aftermath of the debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, you know, I got to say again, I have to do this victory lap. I remember saying this 4 years ago. Myself and Daniel, Hard Lens Media, way back in 2020 at our old studio in Kimball, we said after Trump was defeated by Biden that the Democrats had a golden opportunity to do some really good things. In theory, they could have done some good things. In theory, they could have, possibly. But they squandered that opportunity. And we did also give that warning that Biden should be a one-term president. Okay? Because clearly he was advancing in age. But even then, before then, in 2019, in 2020, and since then, we kept on saying Biden's on a mental decline. Biden's on a mental decline. And we took so much shite from the vote blue, no matter who, you latte drinking liberals, you mimosa sipping liberals. And now so many people are talking about Biden's mental decline. But yet, in the debate, excuses were made. Kamala said he overperformed. He had a slow start. He was overprepared. But Jill Biden, over the weekend, then the Biden clan, had to do damage control. Jill Biden blamed the campaign staff for Biden's failure. Because you got to blame somebody. You got to blame the help. Just like when those progressive lawmakers blamed their interns, or one intern in particular, for sending Joe Biden way back in 2022, like doing like a peace term, calling for a ceasefire in Ukraine. The best thing to do is not take responsibility for your own actions. Just blame the help. But see, Jill Biden and the Biden family can blame the campaign staff all they want. They're the ones that are allowing Grandpa Biden to be on the front stage, to be on display for the whole world to see. And voters have responded. American voters have responded. And I'm eating this up. Am I being petty? Am I being mean? Am I being a jerk? Am I being an insufferable prick? The answer is yes. This is me when I'm not only correct, but a smug prick about it too. But I'm enjoying this. But I'm going to make it my responsibility too at the same time to give this story a fair breakdown. Because it is rather insulting that Jill Biden wants to insult the staff. But the thing is, the American people, the voters, have their own opinions. So first, let's hear from the voters.
We begin this morning with reaction to the first presidential debate of 2024. Our polling unit asked voters how they view the candidates now, including their cognitive health. The results are not encouraging for the president. The number of voters who say President Biden has the cognitive ability to serve has dropped from 35% earlier this month to 27% after.
Oh, I love these numbers. This is like eating an app. If this is any indication how the November meltdown will be if Biden loses, I'm enjoying this appetizer. I'm enjoying like some little shrimp cocktails. I'm enjoying some bread, putting some little butter on it. This is the beginning course of what will be a delicious meal for me. Thank you, liberals, for being so stupid. Thank you, liberals, for being so smug. Thank you, liberals, for having psychological issues because Donald Trump lives rent-free in your head. I'm doing this victory lap because I love every minute of this. Thank you. But seriously, though, these are important numbers, though. Voters don't believe in your old dog. Goodness gracious, Cretaceous. Democrats, what are you going to do in August? Right now, we're in July, and time is running out. What do you do with the choices that you've made?
After the debate. That's the lowest number since CBS began asking voters that question last September. Nearly 3/4 of all registered voters now say he shouldn't be running. And nearly half of Democrats say he shouldn't remain the nominee. An extraordinary number for an incumbent who didn't face a competitive primary.
Gee, it's kind of almost what a primary is for, to get a really good candidate to represent the party. But oh my God, wait a minute, guys. The DNC publicly admitted in 2016 in the aftermath and during, not only during, but even after the 2016 Democratic primary and after the 2016 general election, the DNC said that they are a private corporation, a private entity. You, Democratic voters, The only reason why some of you might feel victory, especially for those who were for Hill Dog and good old dog Joe Biden, is because you were with the right team, because you were with the right corporate team, and you just got your participation sticker. That's it. That's it. I mean, controversial statement in a tree. 3, 2, 1. Trump was more democratically elected in his primaries than the Democratic nominee was ever elected in their primaries. Because you have super delegates and you have people who get to decide who's the nominee going to be. Not you, the voters. But you had a primary, but your primaries were lackluster. 2016 and 2020 was a different story. But look who you had. You had Dean Phillips, you had Marianne Williamson, you had Fat Tony, and for a time you had RFK Jr. RFK Jr. could have been your saving grace, theoretically, Democrats, theoretically. But you squandered that. And now what? Yeah, you could do this at the last minute at the DNC convention. If you go all in with old man Biden, hey, in September, because September comes after August, there's going to be another debate. Am I being too mean? Not mean enough. But I'm loving seeing the panic, though.
Primary. We should also note that half of all voters also say former President Trump does not have the cognitive health to serve. Voters give former President Trump a significant edge, though, when asked which candidate.
Yes, of course, because corporate media has to do both sides. And now, look, Trump and Biden, their age difference is 3 years apart. But, I have to be honest with everybody. He was a stellar performer in comparison to Biden. I mean, Trump didn't have to do anything. But you want to know who is doing something? The Biden clan. That means, hey, look, there's Jill herself. Blames the campaign staff for disastrous debate performance. Listen, I really don't have any respect for the Biden-Harris campaign, their staffers. But, they did the best they could with a senile old man who's on decline. I mean, what more can you do when somebody reaches that age and they are clearly exhibiting and showing signs of dementia, Alzheimer's, a lack of being self-aware? Hey, you could have the most stellar team. You could have the 1996, I think it was the 1996 Olympic Dream Team, right? You could have the dream team of debaters, like back in the day. Because if people know what I'm referencing about in the 90s with the Dream Team Olympic basketball team, I got to tell you, even they couldn't help Joe Biden. But let's find out what Jill has to say. Joe Biden's family, goodness gracious, Cretaceous, has blamed the president's campaign team for his disastrous debate performance because no accountability to the family because the family isn't doing anything wrong, correct? Questioning whether top advisors should be fired while insisting he should remain in the White House race, according to reports. First Lady Jill Biden, son Hunter Biden, because there's a stellar performer right there, and President's grandchildren conveyed at Camp David on Sunday to rally behind the president amid calls for him to wind down his reelection campaign. It is too little too late. Democrats, if you wanted to wind down the campaign, you should have said in the very beginning of January of 2023, not 2024, but in 2023, that Biden was not going to run. You had one whole year. Democrats. You did this to yourselves. I'm only laughing at you now, okay? I can't take you seriously. All that shite talking in 2016 and 2020, all of it, it's all finally come home to roost, and I'm loving it. Took 8 years in the making, but this is a delicious meal to me. It marks the first time the entire family has gathered together since the Biden and Donald Trump's first televised debate of the 2024 election on Thursday evening, which saw the 81-year-old stumbling over his words, losing his train of thought, and at points freezing altogether. Democrats immediately went into panic mode. There were people crapping themselves and pissing themselves, with party members left divided on whether Biden was the right person to run for office. He never was. These are not smart people. These are not intellectual people. Following his lackluster performance in an exercise of damage limitation, his family were said to have shifted blame onto his campaign team, with questions being raised about whether some of his senior staff should be ousted, an advisor told CNN. Currently, it does not appear that the president, who is known for being loyal to his aides, has made any major staffing changes because he's forgot. During the family discussions, Hunter Biden, who was convicted on a federal gun charges in early June, was unwavering in his support for his dear old dad. Bid for the White House and maintained that he is shrewd and in command of facts. A source informed with Sunday's discussions that told the New York Times. Oh yes, the New York Times. Right, gotta trust them. Jill Biden was also said to voice support for her husband, dispelling the notion that Thursday's debate was a nail in the coffin moment for his reelection bid. The Bidens expressed confidence in his ability to serve as president for a second term. To which I have to say, let's have democracy in the chat. Type 1 for Kit, Biden still has a chance in this race. How dare you make a judgment? A type 2, no, that was a nail in the coffin moment. It's done. All right. Someone attach his CPAC machine to him and reel him out of the White House. He's done. Disdain towards Biden's senior advisors has radiated wider than just within his family. Top Democratic donor, oh no, the donor, not a voter, a donor, John Morgan, publicly called out and demanded the resignation of 3 senior staff, Ron Klain, Anita Dunn, and Bob Byer. No, not good old Bobby. Biden's advisors failed him, he wrote on X on Sunday. Format was a disaster for him, and plus for Trump. He overpracticed and was drained. Who wouldn't be? So he overtrained. He overworked out. They worked out his brain so much that it just, boop, it went gone. It went bye-bye. How sad. Meanwhile, Biden's campaign team has been quick to downplay Sunday's visit to Camp David, pointing out that it was planned in advance to Thursday's debate and denying it was something of a last-ditch crisis meeting. I'm going to read this sentence again because this is how you know they're lying to us. This was a crisis meeting. Meanwhile, Biden's campaign team has been quick to downplay Sunday's visit to Camp David, pointing out that it was planned in advance to Thursday's debate and denying it was something of a last-ditch crisis meeting. See, we gotta read corporate media to sift through the lies. That was a last-ditch crisis meeting because the Biden family realizes that the gravy chain is over, and anybody who attached their name to Biden way back in 2020 and now in 2024, you have to do damage control because perception drives a reality, which is funny to me. The family had planned to participate in a photo shoot, sorry for that, with celebrity photographer Annie Leibovitz. Oh, that's interesting. Biden's age and mental fitness had already been a top concern, with Thursday's debate meant to be the president's shot to silence dissenters. Oh, if that was his shot to silence dissenters, hey, I got a bridge to sell you. But just hours after Biden left the CNN debate stage in Atlanta, Georgia, a slew of critics, including those within his own party, questioned whether the president should step aside. Should he? But if you want to see them, at least corporate media, try and do a little flex, because Jill is quick to blame. Jill is always quick to blame the staff. Watch how BSDNC copes. Now, this is a perfect representation of the media and why we got to break corporate media. None of these people at MSNBC or CNN are really serious people. This is called deflecting. This is called forming a shield wall and trying to protect yourself.
Steele and Stuart Stevens here. When I say you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, I think it's very nice that Brandon, who is a Republican, feels that Joe Biden isn't necessarily up to it. I would love to see Republicans talk about their own nominee with all the criminal charges like that, but they never did, right? Democrats are the party of like feelings and, we need to be 100%. Look, man, I actually believe he has a stutter. It was not a great debate. It was a weird debate in a hermetically sealed room. The Republican was bragging about how he had the cleanest H2O. And
Jesus, MSNBC. When you get any lower, I mean, what happened to you? I mean, there was one point where maybe you guys had a form of integrity, but looking at all these quote unquote experts, they don't know what to say. For a long time, this media network, BSDNC, went to bat for a senile old man. And now they really have to twist and turn and really articulate their words properly because everyone's calling them out for the hack frauds that they are. The shield wall has broken. The phalanx is stepping aside for the Roman legion of truth and correctness.
And, the winner of that debate was Donald Trump because he was able to say truly insane things. And nobody noticed because everyone was so fixated on Joe Biden. Look, I think Democrats are being held to a different standard here. Is he, is the base still with him? It seems like they are. Look, if we see hundreds of polls that show that they don't like him anymore and that they have lost faith in him, okay. But he had bonkers fundraising numbers. You have people who are angrier at editorial boards than they are at Joe Biden. Republicans.
Oh my God. She's like, stop blaming me. Stop. The people are becoming self-aware. What do? They're not believing our lies anymore. You want to know why they're not believing their lies anymore? I mean, hell, I could tell you the truth right here, right now. I have been following the Democratic primary, the numbers, the voters. It is abysmal. The voter turnout for this primary for the Democrats have been in the toilet. I mean, 2016, stellar numbers. 2020, even during the pandemic, stellar numbers. 2024, it's in the toilet.
Republicans are like slaves to their base, right? They do whatever their base wants. Here are Democrats who have a base and they want something and they have this good man and maybe he is not a gifted orator. And I would add, he has never been a gifted orator.
Oh, that's not what you said before. You guys were saying that Biden's as sharp as a dog, or not sharp, was the sharpest tool in the shed, that he was the dog that could get it done. I'm afraid after watching all these Biden videos, I'm getting secondhand dementia from Joe Biden. I know. There's a new virus. It's called Joe-mentia. Too many times you watch Joe Biden, even your brain cells will get senile.
And maybe voters like him because he's not a gifted orator.
Hey, guess what? Voters don't like him because he can't speak. Hey, speaking of Biden talking, here's Joe Biden speaking. Let's enjoy it.
Real conversation that is happening among Democrats. Has he lost a step?
Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday, and I want to thank you all. 150 million people have been killed since 2007. It would put 720 million women back in the workforce. My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. What's not to like about Vermont in terms of the beauty of it? And what a neat town. Think about it. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
Are you forgetting what you said 2 minutes ago?
Be enforced.
Are you forgetting already what you said just 2 minutes ago?
There's a lot of people who are concerned about Joe Biden's ability to carry the ball all the way across the end line without fumbling. There are definitely moments where you listen to Joe Biden and you just wonder.
Oh, Corey. Uh-oh. That was you in 2020 when you're putting on your big boy shoes. Look at him. And now all of a sudden you gave up like a cuck and you bent over backwards for Biden. And now everything's all so sad for you. Boo-hoo.
Congressman Tim Ryan also told a reporter that Biden was, quote, declining.
I got elected to the United States Senate. I was 29 before I was sworn in. I got a phone call saying my wife and daughter had just been killed in a tractor trailer accident. My two boys were dead on top of their sister and their mom in a tractor trailer hit them. They were hospitalized for a long time. Play the radio. Make sure make sure you have the record player on at night. The phone. Make sure the kids hear word.
Oh, look at all those people on that stage. Every single one of those people in the 2020 Democratic primary endorsed that old clown.
Biden's strength has never been his clarity of message or his delivery, but watching his long, winding answers that don't really make sense in recent debates has also raised the question as to whether that has gotten worse and whether he is up for that.
In the state of Delaware, for example, set up the coastal zone legislation, which means that they can't build any factories or anything within 1 mile of the estuary of the Delaware River and the Atlantic Ocean and Chesapeake. And so the whole point of this is that we can do a lot to deal with endangered species.
Thank you all. Thank you all for listening.
He's paused there. Guess who comes to help him?
Oh, thanks. 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 Okay.
It's like, Joe, come on. Joe, come on. Joe. You want to see more deflecting? Here.
Joe Biden has a history of stuttering. He did that as a child. All of us know how stutterers operate. I went to school with one.
Yeah, I used to know a stutterer. I went to school with one. Stutter all the time. We called him Stuttering John. He was a good friend of ours. We love a stutterer. Stutterer. I went to school with one.
How stutterers operate. I went to school with one. So when you have trouble getting out a word, that is what comes from stuttering. But when he expressed opinions, he was on the money with the opinions. He may not have gotten the word out, but the thoughts were great.
Oh, keep at it, Democrats. Oh, please keep at it. But look, side note here, I know I'm being an insufferable prick here and I'm doing a victory lap, but being serious, go check up on your liberal friends, your liberal trolls. They're not good right now. They're hurting. Be nice. And if we do get some liberal trolls in the live stream show, help them. They're only lashing out because they're sad. That's all. They're sad and scared. Embrace them with love because their whole world is collapsing in on itself. And I'm here to enjoy it. But hold on, here's an article just to trigger the libs. Biden's wife tries to explain the debate debacle. The wife of U.S. President Joe Biden, Jill Biden herself, has said her husband did not feel well during last week's debate with Donald Trump, in which the 81-year-old gave what was widely seen as a disastrous performance. Oh, RT, you're being too kind with your words. The incumbent appeared frail and confused during the first presidential debate of the 2024 election, frequently mixing up his words and seeming to lose his train of thought. His performance has caused panic within the Democratic Party, which I love, and a number of its major donors. Oh no, the donors, heaven forbid, their feelings, have reportedly called for Biden to be replaced on the party's ticket for the November 5th election. Listen, Democrats, you went all in with old man Biden. You finish it. Get the old dog across the finish line. Entertain me more. During a fundraiser at Greenwich Village in New York, however, the U.S. First Lady attempted to ease concerns of the attendees regarding her husband's performance during a debate. Here's her own words. As Joe said earlier today, he's not a young man. And after last night's debate, he said, Jill, I don't know what happened. I didn't feel great. And I said, look, Joe, we are not going to let 90 minutes define the 4 years that you've been president. Oh, yes, we are. Because I've been seeing Biden stutter and stammer and look confused. Like, where am I, man? Where am I, Jack? In statements to the media, Biden's team had also tried to explain the president's failure after the debate by claiming that he had a cold, was overprepared, that CNN monitors had failed to fact-check claims by Trump. It's this, it's that, it's the blame game. Blame, blow blame, banana, fana, for flame, fee, fi, for fi, lame. The blame game. I love it. You know what? I just love it. But one other note I want to pull up here. Hey, Jamie Raskin on BSDNC. Top-level Democrats are holding meetings on replacing Biden. Don't tell that to Jill, though.
Obviously, there was a big problem with Joe Biden's debate performance. And there's also just a tremendous reservoir of affection and love for Joe Biden in our party. And so this makes it a difficult situation for everybody, but there are very honest and serious and rigorous conversations taking place at every level of our party because it is a political party and we have differences of point of view. I mean, if you compare that to the non-existent dialogue and conversation that took place in the Republican Party after Donald Trump's criminal conviction on 34 counts. It's remarkable.
Yes, but you can't do anything to stop it because the final note here, Biden's family urges him to keep fighting as donors look for alternatives. Oh, Jill. That is a spousal abuse at best. As top Democrats offered a public show of support for President Joe Biden throughout the weekend, his advisors worked privately Sunday to push back against suggestions that he step aside, with his campaign manager describing the mechanics of replacing him on the ticket as messy and impractical because, heaven forbid, we actually had a primary. During a tense call with a group of about 40 of Biden's top financial backers, campaign manager Julie Chavez Rodriguez laid out what could and could not be done with the campaign's infrastructure if Biden were to step aside, while emphasizing throughout the call that he had no intention of doing so. Most of the campaign's significant war chest would fall to Vice President Kamala Harris. Yeah, Chavez Rodriguez said, according to two people familiar with the discussion, only a smaller pool of money would be kept by the Democratic National Committee, as several donors positioned what a participant adversary referred to as fanciful West Wing type scenarios for replacing Biden. Senator Chris Coons, who joined part of the call, emphasized that the process would be messy and predicted that Harris would ultimately end up as the nominee. Oh, they're stuck with her. Sunday's call was just one of the series of similar conversations top Biden advisors and campaign leaders have been holding with Democratic officials and donors after Biden's halting debate performance rattled the party elite. The conversation was among the more candid the campaign has held with a larger group in recent days, wading through a delicate question of exactly who might succeed Biden if he were to step aside. But Jill and the Biden clan are working double time, triple time, to make sure that everything is A-OK, that everything is fine. But it's not fine. The ship is sinking, and I'm here to watch. Yes, they're sending out an SOS. That's right, liberals, you're sending out that SOS. But I never forgot 2016. I never forgot 2020, liberals, and neither did my audience. And you want to know what most of my audience members are doing right now? What everybody's doing? You told us to F off, to shut up, to just participate, that we had nowhere to go. But truth be told, we do have places to go. We're building movements and organizations not connected to Washington, D.C. We got many people helping support and build up third parties and independents. You told us that we weren't wanted. The Bernie Sanders and AOC movement is now gone. No one wants to be a sucker with the Democratic Party, so we're moving away. So while you keep on sending out SOS signals, the rest of the fleet is there watching you sink because you deserve it. It's called karma. And am I being mean about this? Do I care about people's feelings about Donald Trump? No, I don't. And I'm getting tired of a lot of the vote blue no matter who crowd saying that we should. I say to all of you watching, grab the popcorn and watch a liberal meltdown. But be sure to be nice about it, because their whole world is crashing in on itself. Help them break away from the neoliberal Democratic Party. For many years, they've been walking around smugly, and now it's all a lie. Help them. But hey, give them a good rib for me. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. And if anybody asks where you learned this behavior from, just say you learned it by watching Hard Lens Media. As you should. With that being said, where'd you learn this awful behavior from? I learned it from watching Kit Cabello from Hard Lens Media. He said that it was okay. And I did.